gentlemen, Papa Boris is back for some more Hearthstone gameplay in the newbie-friendly mold. In our last video, we made a deck called Spiteful Rogue, and we played one game with it. Today, we're going to... It's still today. I'm like, last year, we made a deck, and today... No, so still today, right now, we're going to go ahead and play some more games with that deck so that you can see it in action, hopefully against a wider array of opponents. If you didn't watch that first video, I do highly recommend that you check it out, just because that way you'll know what deck we're playing with, and it'll explain some of the mechanics. This is a bit of a more complicated deck. As always, if there's anything I didn't explain or that you forgot or just don't understand, let me know in the comments. I'm still a small fish in the YouTube ocean. I do read them and try to respond to them all, so I'll be happy to clarify anything that I may have left unspoken. Let's go ahead and see who our first opponent is. I do test the decks to make sure they're not completely awful before I make the videos, but once I start recording, I will show the results, win or lose, so we might very well lose our games. We might win them, we'll just see. We're up against Drake the Hunter. Now, there is a Hunter deck that is quite faddish at the moment, which involves not playing any creatures until the moment that you kill your opponent. If that is the case, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, because that deck is, well, it's very, very good. It's just very strong against pretty much everything. That's partly why it's so popular. But it's very strong against me, because this Rogue deck is really trying to control the early game by killing off all your opponent's stuff. Well, I'm first. What that means is that I don't have the coin, so it's actually going to be a little bit difficult to combo this guy out, so I'll hold this back. We'll also send back the Eviscerate. This is better late game or mid game where it deals 4 damage. Early game, spending it as 2 mana to deal 2 damage isn't as good as just putting a creature onto the board. So we're going to send those back and hope to get some creatures. Well, we get some creatures for turn 3 and turn 4. Sadly, still nothing to do on turn 2, which could be a little bit bad. Or not, if my opponent plays no creatures. So we're probably on turn 2 going to make a dagger and swing at my opponent, which is very, very lame, but such is life. And then on turn 3, we'll either be playing a ghoul, or perhaps the Perdition's Blade if there's something that needs to die. So that Hunter combo deck that I was talking about, basically, it has a bunch of cheap beasts and a card called Unleash the Hounds, which gives all your beasts +1 attack and charge. And all the other cards in the deck, like half the deck, is just like removal to stop your opponent from killing you, basically, until you can pull off your combo and win. So I am very, very, very bad against that deck because I am a rogue, so I'm going to be hitting minions with my dagger and losing life, and that's not good. Now, Hunters, we haven't actually seen them before, I don't think. Their hero ability is Steady Shot. It's very simple. It just deals 2 damage to the enemy hero. My opponent's going to play Kill Command to kill my Flesh-Eating Ghoul, which makes me sad, but what are you going to do? Well, you're going to watch your ghoul die. That's what you're going to do. Alright, this guy is nifty, but I can't combo him out at the moment. I don't have a backstab, so we're just going to play Chillwind Yeti. This is a pretty big duder face. And I have a feeling my opponent's going to play a secret here, but we'll see. Yeah, look at that. Calling it like a champ. So, secrets are cards that trigger when a certain situation is met. For Hunters, one of their secrets is called Freezing Trap. It's when an enemy minion attacks, you send it back to your opponent's hand. I obviously don't want that to happen, so I think that's what it is. He had a lot of cards in his hand. If he had that secret, that's what he would have chosen to stop my Yeti from killing his Novice Engineer. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to take it easy here. We're going to play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul and the Defias Ringleader, and we're going to pass the turn. So all we're trying to do is get one of these creatures to stick so that we can use it to trigger the trap rather than the big Yeti, which is a lot more expensive. Another Kill Command. My opponent really respects these Flesh-Eating Ghouls, it seems. He's also going to kill off my little bandit with his Novice Engineer, so getting a little bit of extra value out of that Engineer. Again, I would have attacked it with my Yeti. I could have killed it with the SI Agent, but I really wanted to put the Ghoul and the Ringleader into play. We have a little Stone Tusk Boar. He's actually going to kill off the bigger of my 2 bandits, it seems. The Stone Tusk Boar is a very bad card. It's a 1/1 with charge. It's not great. That really solidifies in my mind the possibility that my opponent is playing this Hunter combo deck. Generally, good players would not play with that card. Well, let's see what the secret is before we do anything else. Look at that! I'm such a pro player. So this is why my opponent killed off my Ringleader. Had he killed off this bandit, which would have been a lot easier, my Ringleader would have attacked, gone back into my hand, and then I could have replayed him and comboed him out, which my opponent obviously did not want happening. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and play our biggest creature that we have, the Spiteful Smith. Maybe we'll get to see her being all spiteful. And we're going to attack with the Yeti. Now, you don't want to feel too secure here because basically the Hunter combo deck can deal a ton of damage all at once. So my opponent is still in very good shape. Plays another secret. Again, that's probably a freezing trap, but there's another secret called Misdirection, which causes the creature to attack a different target, and that's very scary also. So, I mean, I'm just going to run into it. I'm going to run in with my Yeti because it's cheaper, so if I do have to play it back later from another freezing trap, it's the cheaper one of the two. It's not Explosive Trap or Freezing Trap or Misdirection. What that suggests to me is that this trap is probably a trap called Snipe. What Snipe does is it deals 2 damage to an incoming enemy creature. Well, that's fine by me. Let's take a look at what we can do here. We could actually play Perdition's Blade, deal damage to the Spiteful Smith, enrage it, make this weapon deal 4 damage, then play Deadly Poison, make it deal 6 damage and swing and try to burn my opponent out. That seems like a pretty good move. Let's actually ping my dude, enrage him, play Deadly Poison to make the weapon deal an extra 2 damage. This weapon now deals 6 damage. We're going to swing for 6, which is insane. And we're going to, I think, try to flush out the Snipe here with this Bandit. Let's see if that's what it is. It is Snipe, so my opponent's very unhappy about this. Snipe did not hit a valuable creature at all. One important thing about playing Rogue, if you get a weapon when you already have a weapon in play, it destroys the weapon that you have in play. So basically, this 6/1 dagger, or Perdition's Blade, will just get destroyed if I were to click on my hero ability. So as a rogue, you can really bone yourself in the face if you're not careful. So I'm going to be making sure not to click this until I actually finish attacking with this weapon. Well, my opponent, I'm at 26 health. I don't know exactly how, I've never played one of these decks myself. My opponent might be able to kill me this turn. It's quite possible. Alright, so he's playing Starving Buzzard. Whenever you summon a beast, you draw a card. He's starting off his combo. The Ironbeak Owl is a beast, so it draws my opponent a card. He actually silenced a creature that's doing nothing, which suggests that he has the win this turn. Otherwise, he should have definitely silenced the Spiteful Smith. That is, you know, causing my weapon to be hitting extra hard. And then, my guess is he's going to play one more 1-mana beast and then unleash the Hounds. And then, actually, I don't think that will kill me. Not quite. Anyway, this is a Wind Fury Hawk, a young Dragon Hawk. Wind Fury means it can attack twice. So if you buff its attack power... Ah! My opponent! Okay, so my opponent was definitely playing that combo deck, but he didn't have enough to deal 26 damage to me, so he's going to concede because I have the kill. Alright, well, that was a good game. I'm very happy to win that one because, like I said, I'm weak against that combo deck since... my opponent's not playing any creatures until the turn he kills me, so all of my backstabs and stuff are useless. Now, I guess I got a little bit lucky there. I didn't actually draw any of my removal. That would have actually been a really awful game if I'd been against anyone else, because I didn't see any eviscerates after I mulliganed the first one, and I never saw any backstabs, so I guess it worked out really, really nicely there. But I'm going to give myself some credit, you know, knowing what my opponent's secrets are and not attacking with the Chillwind Yeti also made a big difference for me. Zed Dominiques, well, this is another really tough matchup for me, unfortunately. Mage is very, very difficult for Rogue because mages have a lot of global removal, so it kills all my creatures really easily. She can also freeze my creatures. And not only that, but mages also have a lot of direct damage, as we saw with the Freezy Pop deck. So my opponent can, not only kill my creatures, but she also gets to burn me, and that's hard being a rogue, because I'm going to be using my weapons to attack her creatures and taking the extra damage from my own hero ability. So that's a problem. Alright, now the Defiance Ringleader is a card I would keep if I were going second, and I could combo it out with the coin, but unfortunately I'm first, so it's going to be a while before I can actually play this thing. I'm just going to ship it back. I will keep these 2 cards, however. So the Imani Berserker is just really great to drop on turn 2, and then on turn 3 you can actually shiv it yourself, if it's still around, which against a mage it's not super likely to be. You can shiv it yourself, draw a card, so you're not losing any cards. It becomes a 5/2 and you can attack for lots of damage. But again, the odds of this surviving are very, very, very small. Mages, if you'll recall, have a hero ability Fire Blast. It's very, very good. You can deal damage to an enemy minion, and you don't have to take any damage back, so it's incredibly good for picking things off. Now, she doesn't necessarily want to Fire Blast this, because that will enrage it and cause it to deal more damage. So she'll only be Fire Blasting this Berserker if she is killing it right then and there on the spot. This is my favorite map, because you can make endless streams of vegetables and squash them. My opponent seems not to be entirely there. I don't know what's going on, but she did pass the turn. We'll go ahead and play our creature. This creature has about as much chance of surviving as a snowball in hell, unfortunately, against a mage. But she didn't play a creature on turn 1, which helps. Alright, there comes the Frostbolt. Surprise, surprise. And down goes my creature. Alright, we have a Defias Ringleader. Again, I can't really combo him out at the moment, so what we're going to do is we're just going to make a dagger and attack. And then next turn, I'm going to Shiv her just to draw a card and then play out this Ringleader. He's good, but against mages he's less good because the 2/1 bandit that he gets out from the combo, the mage can just Fire Blast away. I still want to put it out, though, because that's going to cause her to spend 2 mana dealing with it. My opponent seems not to have any moves here, so she's likely holding a handful of control spells and global removal. That's not really great. So we're going to go ahead and Shiv my opponent just to draw a card. Not the best use of Shiv, but there's life for you. And we're going to play the Ringleader. There's no particular reason to keep my dagger on hand, so we'll just swing-a-ling-ling and pass the turn. So this is really not very scary to a mage. Ah, she seems to have a very bad hand, interestingly. She's just playing a creature with a battle cry, but she's not actually using up the battle cry. Okay. My opponent's also going to coin something out here. It's another Arcane Missile, so deal 3 damage. So she actually managed to clear me off with all these random missile shots. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alright, well, here we have a bit of an easy turn. Let's go ahead, make a dagger. And now that we drew this deadly poison, let's go ahead and kill her creature. And there's nothing else to do, unfortunately, so we're just going to pass the turn. What I'm going to likely do next turn is play the Auctioneer and conceal, draw a card, hide him, prevent my opponent from removing him for a turn, and then hope to get some more cards off this Shiv and Fan of Knives. Ah, she plays a Silence. That doesn't really do anything. In fact, I'm probably just going to, I'm just going to kill it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and play this. Play Conceal to draw a card, and hide my guy. And then I'm going to heal him. Now you might think, well, Boris, hang on, isn't it a bit dangerous going down below 20 health? The thing is, this thing was going to hit me anyway, so if something's going to hit you anyway, you might as well kill it. It's not great, but sometimes you can't do what's great. Sometimes you just have to settle for what is the least sucky. Alright, well, my opponent is going to play an Argent Commander. This is a 4/3 with charge that has a Divine Shield, so basically it has to take damage twice before it dies. It's actually very difficult for me to deal with. I'm probably now going to have to use my Silence that I just drew, so that's convenient. We'll go ahead and play this Silence to get rid of the Divine Shield. Then I guess we'll do it like this. Yeah, we'll play Shiv to draw a couple of cards. Oh, I wish I had Backstab first. Oh no! If I'd had Backstab first, I could have Backstabbed them and then Shivved him for the kill. But this is deal 2 damage to an undamaged minion, so I can't use it on him now. Well, we're going to play Perdition's Blade and shoot him because of combo. This is actually going to deal 2 damage, and now my life is way too low. My opponent could already win. My life is way too low, so I have to just use the weapons that I get to attack my opponents directly. I cannot afford to be hitting creatures with the weapon anymore. My opponent is wondering. 15 life is definitely not where you want to be against a mage. Now the good thing is I do have an Eviscerate. I'm probably going to be sending it at her head and trying to win. Unfortunately, Fan of Knives does not deal damage to your opponent, but this guy does. So if I could like backstab something to turn on combo, then Eviscerate, and this guy is like 6 damage in my back pocket. Alright, what is my opponent doing? She's going to Fireball my creature. That's very smart. So that's good. It's kind of good and kind of bad at the same time. I'm sad to lose my creature, but at the same time, I'm happy that the Fireball didn't go into my face. Okay, well, I think we have some very difficult decisions to make. We can either play him and get more cards, or we can play this and start trying to win by, say, backstabbing my own Spiteful Smith, who I'm sure does not appreciate that, to start trying to deal extra damage. Or we can just backstab this thing and respect the fact that my opponent could still kill me. Yeah, let's actually go ahead. My owl got a chance to live for a turn. This owl's on borrowed time because my mage opponent can kill it with a Fire Blast anytime she wants. So I'm either going to deal 2 damage with it, or I'm going to attack the Shattered Stone Cleric with it. Which one makes the most sense? I guess attacking the Shattered Stone Cleric with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the SI Agent here. Do I want to do that? Yeah. we'll do the SI agent like that. We'll use the owl to finish that thing off, and we're going to swing at my opponent. So the problem now is my opponent is up to beyond 7 mana, so she can play Flame Strike and kill both of these creatures. The good news is, though, that it's only 2 creatures, and this guy's, done his job. Looks like my opponent is not going to be Flame Striking here. She's going to Cone of Cold to deal 2 damage to both of my creatures, and freeze them so they can't attack. It's very, very, very good for my opponent here. Alright, well, here I think we need to play the Spiteful Smith and eviscerate this Drake. You don't really want your mage opponent having extra spell damage, that's for sure. And we're going to make a dagger. Now, I could backstab my Spiteful Smith to make the dagger deal more damage. The problem is, this thing actually survives Flame Strike at the moment, because Flame Strike deals 4 damage to all enemy minions. If I backstabbed it, it would be at 4 health and it would die to Flame Strike. So I don't really want it dying to a Flame Strike. So I'm just going to play the Spiteful Smith and wait to backstab it until a later time. Now there is your Drake for my opponent, so she gets to draw another card and her spells deal extra damage. She's going to, looks like, bring down my Spiteful Smith. She really is afraid of this creature, it seems. As she should be. Or not. Maybe she's not. I love how you can see people pointing stuff. Polymorph. Alright, turns your thing into a sheep. Fair enough. Well, what's interesting about this move is that she chose to play the Azure Drake for a card, but the problem with that plan is that, actually, it keeps all these 1 toughness creatures alive. I might be able to win now. Let me just do a quick check. We got 7, 8 damage. I could enrage my Spiteful Smith, so this is 11 damage. Deadly Poison is gonna put it up to, sorry, I lost count here. Basically, this can swing for 5. So we got 5, 9, 12, 13. Not quite enough to win, sadly. So we do need to kill this Azure Drake. Well, let's go ahead and play this Spiteful Smith. We'll do that for sure. I could also just play the Yeti. It's another creature that survives Flame Strikes. And I could run my Sheep and my SI Agent into the Azure Drake. It's a tough call here. Let's actually backstab this thing and just draw a card off my Auctioneer one probably final time. Alright, then we're going to use my SI Agent to finish off the Drake. We'll leave the Sheep around. And what I'm going to do is play a Yeti who also survives Flame Strikes, and I'm going to swing. Deadly Poison would have drawn me a card, but the problem is my dagger had only 1 durability on it, so I'd rather get 2 uses out of the Deadly Poison than draw a card off of the Deadly Poison. So I'll make a fresh dagger next turn, then put Deadly Poison on it. So my opponent's in a bit of trouble, actually, because Flame Strike would leave the Yeti and the Spiteful Smith alive. She could then use the Hero ability to pick off the Yeti, but the Spiteful Smith would then hang on in there with 2 health, and then I could, make a Deadly Poison dagger that's going to swing for 5 damage, plus the 4 damage here. My opponent's actually getting pretty close to death. So, if she's going to burn me out with her Pyroblasts and Fireballs and stuff, she'd better make it quick. She's already used 1 Fireball, I believe, on my previous Gadsden Auctioneer. What's she going to do here? It's possible that she has a Flame Strike and feels she cannot use it because the Spiteful Smith survives. So this is part of why the Spiteful Smith is in the deck. It really is kind of designed around not losing immediately to Flame Strike. Alright, Blizzard is a very good card, so not only does it kill off my Auctioneer and the Sheep, but it freezes the Yeti and stops it from attacking, which is very, very sad. Well, we're going to have to start going for the kill here, so let's go ahead and play a Chillwind Yeti, make a dagger, Deadly Poison, and swing. Now, this is where the fact that I'm up against a mage really blows, because basically I could play this guy out, but if she plays a Flame Strike, it would die, the Bandit would die, this damaged Yeti would die, and then this Yeti would have 1 health left. She could just pick it off. But I'm going to do that. The reason I'm doing that is that it's going to be her entire turn. It's going to be 9 of her 10 mana to clear everything out with a Flame Strike plus Hero ability. Then I've still got this Poison Dagger, so I'm going to swing her down to 6. Oh, she has this Acidic Swamp Ooze. So this is a common card that destroys your opponent's weapon, so that's actually really sad. But honestly, that's actually less sad than losing my entire team to Flame Strike, so I will take it. This is a very interesting mage. Either she doesn't have Flame Strike in her deck, or she didn't draw it. Either way is fine by me. Let's just draw a card. See what we can get. That's good. I think we have the win here. Yeah, we definitely have the win. Well, that was pretty cool. So we managed actually to beat 2 of our toughest matches, the Hunter combo deck and the Mage deck. But in fairness, that wasn't a very traditional Mage deck. It seemed to have all these weird creatures. She might have been playing with the Enrage mechanic and stuff. So it wasn't a very traditional Mage deck. All right, let's go ahead and play one more game. 3 seems like a nice number of games to play. Those day games were somewhat involved, but they weren't super long, and, you know, maybe it'll be nice to see me lose. I will be totally honest, I have lost plenty of times with this deck while I was testing it, and that was actually in unranked mode. Although there were a few things in this deck that I changed out that made it better. So I used to have Betrayal in here, that's another removal spell, and instead I put in the Owl, and the Owl has been very important in some cases. Pharma pre the Warrior. Well, I don't feel like I'm particularly scared of Warriors, so that surely means I'm going to lose to this one. We are second, so we're going to get the coins, so we're going to get to play this guy with his bandit on turn 1, which is awesome. I don't really want 2 deadly poisons, 1 will do, but let's keep the other one around in the backstab for removal against my opponent's early plays. This is not my favorite thing to see early on, this won't be relevant for a long time, but notice here kind of the deck is working as intended in this particular game because of the cards that we drew, which is that I am able to win the early game quite easily. It's very unlikely my opponent would really play any creatures that I won't be able to take care of extremely cheaply with these cards. Now, Warriors have a hero ability called Armor Up. They gain 2 armor. Armor is the same thing as health. Oh my gosh, my opponent had Cleave. Deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions. That is actually a pretty good way to take care of business against the turn 1 Defias Ringleader. Well, my opponent just caught up. So the armor is kind of like life, except you can go above 30 with it, of course. And that means that my opponent can actually heal up faster than I can damage him with my dagger, which is a bit sad, and that's what he's going to be doing. But, yeah, wow, that was actually really unfortunate that he had the Cleave there. I don't have anything to do this turn. I could make this Perdition's Blade, but I'd like to wait and see if I can kill some creatures with it. So what I'm going to do is gear up for the next turn. I'm going to make a dagger, fresh one, make Deadly Poison on it, so it's a 3-2. And we're ready to try to kill whatever my opponent can play with the combination of the dagger and backstab. Wow, Cleave is a very, very, very good answer to the Defias Ringleader. Alright, my opponent has a Core Chronolite. This is a Warrior unique card. It's very good. It's a 4-3 with charge for a very bargain 4 mana. We're going to go ahead and play Chill Wind Yeti. It's a big dude, and I don't actually end up needing the backstab just yet, so we'll hit the creature direct. I'm not a big fan of going down, you know, to 22. That guy basically got to hit me twice, which sucks. But you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Gurubashi Berserker. This is a very scary card. So it's a 2/7, so it's quite beefy, and whenever it takes damage, it gains 3 attacks. So it takes a while for it to get rolling, but once it does get rolling, oh boy, watch out. Well, I could kill it, but I'd have to take a lot of damage or lose my Yeti in the process. I can hit it with my Yeti, take it down to 3 health, swing at it, take 5 more damage. Ouch. I'd rather not do that. Let's actually do this. We're gonna hit it like this. We're gonna put another creature onto the board, and I think this is the time to use Eviscerate. And I'm gonna keep this dagger around because my opponent very well could still play creatures where the 3 damage would be relevant, and I can afford to probably hit a creature 1 more time given my life total. Well, I would say that even though my opponent had the perfect answer to my turn 1 play, I still won the opening. But now that we go into the mid-game with moves like that, my opponent can definitely catch back up. Alright, he plays a Silencer, so this guy can no longer get all enragey. That makes me sad. Well, I'll just play the Auctioneer. This is a bit of a risk. I don't want to use either of these backstabs yet. I mean, they could draw me a card, I guess, but I don't need them to score the kill. So we'll just hit that guy and pass the turn. So Warriors are actually not the greatest at creature removal, so that's why this guy is a little bit more likely than average to survive than, say, against a Mage, which isn't to say that Warriors don't have any ways of killing it. They definitely do. I'm really hoping that my opponent just minds his own beeswax and plays some creatures. I could backstab one, Perdition's Blade another one, slam, okay. So he deals 2 damage to minion and draws a card because the minion survived. Does he have a way to finish it off? Another Cleave would do it, I suppose. Shield block. Gain 5 armor and draw a card. He could still get a card to let this thing die. Ah, he does not find it. Perfect. Okay. Well, here we go. Let's go ahead and start doing some business. Gonna backstab this and draw a card. Okay, now we're gonna make sure to play this Flesh-Eating Ghoul so we can start pumping that up. We'll put another creature on the board. So I'm foregoing drawing cards with this guy. I couldn't have backstabbed that thing anyway. But I could have like used this weapon and stuff, but because I'm up against a warrior, and warriors aren't the greatest at removal in general, and it's certainly not mass removal, I feel much more comfortable against him than I would against a mage, just putting a lot of creatures onto the board. If I were up against a mage, I would have never have done this. This just all dies to Flame Strike. It's a disaster. But against a warrior, I feel totally fine. Defender of Argus is a very good rare card. It gives adjacent minions +1/+1 and taunt, so I have to attack through this now. And this is partly why I have the owl in this deck. I don't want to actually have to kill this with my creatures. I just want to silence it and keep on attacking. Okay, let's take a look at what we get. Ooh, Spiteful Smith is interesting. I could, again, do the trick. I could play it. I could backstab it. I have enough mana to play Perdition's Blade. It's definitely an interesting possibility. This Blade would be pretty good. We'll hang on to that, though. Let's actually just go ahead and put this owl onto the board so we can silence that thing. And what I think I'll do is I'll backstab this so I can draw a card. I like doing that a lot. Chillwind Yeti is very, very nice to see here. Then, let's go ahead and do this. And I'm actually going to kill this guy too, to protect my Auctioneer and my Flesh-Eating Ghoul. So notice my Flesh-Eating Ghoul is outrageous. So when I first read the card, I was like, well, I mean, how often are you really going to get to... you know, get this thing to grow to any measurable size? And the answer is more often than you'd think, especially when you're playing against classes that aren't the greatest at removal, like warriors. Well, my opponent could still win, but I have a very big advantage here, obviously, with all these creatures, and my opponent seems not to have the answers that he needs, and that is going to be it for Pharmaprix, the warrior. Well, that turned out to be quite a stunning success of a deck. I promise I wasn't just like recording videos over and over until I got a good one. I play tested it, lost a whole lot, got the deck to the point where I was winning some games, and we just happened to get a lucky run here. Of the decks that I've made so far, the free-to-play Paladin, the Freezy Pop, or the Spiteful Rogue, the strongest by a mile is the Freezy Pop deck. And for those of you who just want to stick around and take a look at it, first of all, if you're done watching the games and you want to head out, by all means, feel free to check out. If you enjoyed the video, do please like and or subscribe to it on your way out. But if you want to spend a little bit more quality time here with Papa Boris, just chatting here, you and I, the decks that of the ones I made, the ones that's the strongest is the Freezy Pop deck. This deck is what I would call an upper middle class deck. What I mean by that is it's got 2 epics, these 2 Pyroblasts, and it's also got 2 rares. Well, 4 rares if you count the multiples. There's 2 Blizzards and there's 2 Gadsden Auctioneers. Every other card is either a common or even a basic card. So it's relatively cheap, but it does have 2 epics. And an epic costs 400 dust, a rare costs 100 dust. So assuming you have all the commons, which cost only 40 dust a piece, which isn't very, very much. This only is going to cost a total of, let's see, 400 dust for the rares and 800 dust for the epics, which is a decent amount, but it's not the end of the world, especially if you've made some dust. So that's the deck to play of the ones I've shown so far if you really, really like winning, because it wins the most. The Spiteful Rogue deck is what I would call a lower middle class deck. All the cards are common, except for there are some rares. So the Gadsden Auctioneer is a couple of rares, the SI Agent, that's a couple of rares, and the Perdition's Blade, that is a couple of rares. Everything else is a common card or a basic card. So it's just the 6 rares, which is a total of 600 dust, plus any commons that you might need in order to make this deck. So it wins a decent amount of the time, but it's not quite as strong as Freezy Pop. Well, again, thank you so much for watching and sticking around for a little bit of bonus time with Papa Boris. If you enjoyed the videos, do please like the video and or subscribe to my channel. I'll appreciate that very, very much. And I'll be back soon with some more arena gameplay and some more newbie-friendly constructed play. Till then.